Welcome to The Grand Balance, a biweekly podcast hosted by two working grandmas navigating the beautiful chaos of work and family. Hi, Sharon.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
It's so weird, listeners. If I sound a little different, I'm not in our normal podcast studio. I'm unfortunately laid up at home on Zoom. So hopefully the audio comes across okay. But so weird because we've never reported a podcast not together in the same location
Well, so why are you laid up? What's going
because
on?
I completely messed up my knee and I have a complete newfound respect for health, I'll tell you that, because and all those people that have any kind of disability or injury because it's not fun. Everything takes so long, it's painful. So, yes, I have been hobbling around. I can't walk unassisted. I did get an MRI, so hopefully we have some answers soon, but I just completely tweaked out my knee and I cannot put weight on it, which I had to travel for a big family function, and that was interesting to say the least, but so glad I went.
Oh, my goodness. So you have stairs in your house. Do you have a bedroom downstairs? Like, have you been able to?
No, the first night when I got home from the ER, I was just in so much pain. I just went laid on my recliner and went to sleep. After that night, I I can go up and down the stairs, it just takes me forever. And then my dog had some health issues, and he wasn't able to go up and down the stairs, so it was the hobbling grandma carrying the hobbling dog, so that was a sight to see, but he's also on the mend, so I think there's a brighter future ahead for sure.
Yeah, there's a black cloud over your house then.
I know, I was like, "Oh."
Yeah.
It's just I mean, you really have an appreciation for people that deal with this all the time because it really taught me that I take my health for granted, and I'm no longer going to do that. I'm on a complete health kick at this point. I'm down 12 pounds over the last couple weeks, so I'm excited about that.
Congratulations.
Just, yeah, complete different mind shift. Very, very, very thankful for my friends, but also scary when you think, like, you don't have family nearby. So that's kinda made me have a couple thoughts about that as well, but very, very grateful to my amazing friends.
So how did you end up traveling through all of this? Because you went to go see you were seeing your family for a graduation, right?
Right, my niece was graduating from law school, shout out to Maddie, very, very proud of her. So we had a whole weekend of festivities. My daughter and her whole family traveled, my son traveled from New York. So we had an Airbnb, which was amazing for us because we got so much family time, and my son was able to spend a lot of time with the little girls. So, yeah, I mean, there was come hell or high water, I was going on this trip. I'm in a full immobilizing brace, so that doesn't really help, and I don't even wanna go into all the complaining because it's just not that much fun, but able to use the wheelchair service, so that was very helpful. Southwest, all the things you've been reading about their seat assignments gone awry, definitely happened to me. I paid for and confirmed a seat so I could outstretch my leg that's in a brace, and sure enough, I go to check in 24 hours, and they had moved me to a middle seat in the back of the plane,
Oh my
even though I
gosh.
even though I'd paid the extra premium for the extra leg room and the aisle seat so I could keep my leg and not disturb other passengers. So that was, hours on the phone, and then they couldn't end up doing anything, so then I spent over an hour at the counter at the airport, almost missed the flight. If they hadn't had the wheelchair assist, I for sure would have missed the flight because 'cause I'm hobbling at a very slow rate, but anyway, just a heads up to anyone that is traveling Southwest, this nightmares about the seat assignments are true, and just I'd heard people complain, and I thought maybe they were exaggerating it, but definitely check it.
I've not heard about it, and I
Yeah, it's awful.
yeah. Hmm.
'Cause, I mean, like, you buy a seat and you plan on a seat, and then you go to check in like you're supposed to, and your seat's randomly been moved.
Mm,
Very difficult to overcome. I on the return, I just switched to a United flight, and that worked out amazing.
yeah, like normal.
So, anyway, the airport was actually okay. I was just super, super busy there with the party planning, and I think I overdid it and set my knee back quite a bit,
Mm.
but what are you gonna do? I mean, there was a lot of things to be done. kitties to play with, so I know my knee will find a solution for it, but it was doable, and I'm glad, very, very glad I was able to go.
Yeah, that's great. But I expect you probably did overdo it because you do that anyway, even in your healthy times. So, but I'm glad you got to spend that time with family and you got to see the grandbabies.
I did, I got to see him so much. A couple travel tips I did learn traveling with the little ones to add on to some of your tips that you talked about on your trip. The magnet tiles are amazing for keeping their attention and keeping them contained on the little magnetic case so they can keep everything together there. And then the other thing my daughter did was her husband left everyone and the luggage and went to get the rental car without the whole clan, so everyone wasn't loading up and off the shuttle, etcetera, and that I mean, I had thought of that as well, but I thought it was a really good idea because it kinda simplifies things. She was able to change the girls, feed them while he was dealing with all the rental car stuff, so if that's something people hadn't thought of, I thought that was a good tip. So how have you been?
I've been just busy, busy at work. I actually feel a little guilty. I slept in until 9 a.m. this morning.
Oh, nice. It means your body needed it.
Because I start sometimes as early as 5 in the morning. So I'm, trying to balance it all right because I'm trying to help with the grandkids. And so I have to make up time for work. And so on the weekends, I was telling my husband last night, we were at a baseball game and I said, I don't even know what we were talking about. I'm like, all I'm thinking about is how I'm sleeping in tomorrow because I was,
That's funny. Well, I have to take a steroid for my knee, and that's crazy because it's like a stimulant, so it keeps you up. So it's hard to go to sleep, but fortunately, I haven't had to get up super early either, which has been nice because you definitely we need to keep up with the balancing and get that a very important sleep in.
that's right. Because we have to be healthy for our grandkids. So I just can't imagine, I know I'm working on fumes sometimes, but I'm still, there and able to do everything. I can't imagine how it would be for somebody that has an ailment. I mean, like something that you just blow out your knee and then all of a sudden it can disrupt the whole child care and everything you're being counted on. And so being
Oh
healthy
yeah,
is important.
complete new appreciation for health. This is why I'm determined I will be healthy. Speaking of healthy, this is from a brain aspect health. There's an app called Impulse. I've just having had a mom who had Alzheimer's, I'm really aware of keeping your brain active. And this is just like a little app that you do for a couple minutes every morning, and it does different types of brain games. Super easy. So I thought I'd mention that because I think it's kind of cool, just different ways that you can use your brain and hopefully keep it active, especially if you're maybe not in a situation where you're actively using your brain a lot.
Oh, that's a great suggestion, especially after our last episode about, getting older, helping parents, making sure that they stay sharp.
Yeah, that's what made me think of it because I've been doing it and it's just like a fun little thing. Sometimes if I don't have time in the morning, I'll do it later when I get home, but it kind of does all different types of brain function, which I like because sometimes in your everyday life too, you might just do whatever, a lot of reading, a lot of math, but maybe not other types of brain activities.
Well, I'll have to get it and tell my son because this morning, my son, I went and walked the dog real quick and I come back and he texted me. He's like, "Where are you?" And I said, I walked in the house at that moment and he says, "How long have you been gone?" And I was like, "I don't know, like 20, 30 minutes, I'm not sure because the dog only can walk a little short time because he's also injured. And he's like, "Are you hearing this?" And I have my AirPods in, right? And he's like, "Are you hearing this?" I was like, "No, what?" And I took him out and my teapot was whistling. I had been gone for 30 minutes.
Oh, no.
I- But that's not the only thing.
That's scary.
He did it like 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
And my son caught
Angela, this is not good.
I know, and so I was like, "Oh, crap," and he says, "Mom, seriously, like, do I should I be worried?" And I'm like, "No, well, kinda." Like,
I don't know, maybe.
the problem is I have so much going on that I'm like, unloading the dishwasher. I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna unload the dishwasher, put the pot to boil so I can make my iced tea. Oh, and the dog needs to go for a walk. Oh, and I have to go pay that bill, and I have to do the laundry, and I have to," so
Right, it's like you're
I
going
had
from one thing to the next, to the next.
yes, and so I was listening to something in my ears, like book, while I'm unloading the dishwasher, and so I went from there, and I forgot I had the teapot because I'm just balancing too many things. So, I don't think I'm I don't think I have Alzheimer's or anything, but I definitely need to be careful.
Well,
Be
the scatterbrained of it. So with things like that, when I found myself forgetting, not anything as crazy as, like, the stovetop, but when I know I have to remember something coming up, I just right then, as soon as I said it, I set an alarm in my phone.
That's a good idea.
So that will solve your problem because the alarm will go off and you'll be like, "What's that alarm for?" And it'll make you remember.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, "Oh, I felt embarrassed, honestly, because this is the second time." And then got me thinking, "Okay, I have to really just just slow down. I just go too fast. I just have to
Right.
slow
Well,
down."
and it's hard to keep track of everything. I just started with the alarms because I have to ice my knee so much, and it's just that combined with, like, I'll be icing it while doing something else and so then I just started setting alarms for all this stuff, like time to take off the ice, time to take the medication, trying to keep all this straight. So that same system would work for you for sure.
Yeah. So here's a little funny tip that nobody will believe it, but it is true. And I heard this years ago and I don't remember where. But when I sleep, I think of a lot of stuff. That's my best thinking time. And sometimes I'll think of something right when I lay down in bed and like, oh, don't forget to pay that bill or don't forget to make that appointment or something. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm going to forget this. And there's a little tip you write it on your tongue and you will remember it in the morning.
What?
Yes. It
I don't understand. What do you mean by
for
writing it on your tongue?
example, like, if you have to schedule a doctor appointment, right? And you're thinking about it and your day will go by and you'll forget. And then it'll go another day will go by and you'll forget, right? So at night when you lay down, if you think of anything at night when you're laying down and you don't have something to write on or I don't put my phone with me. I put it somewhere else when I'm sleeping. It says, like, you could write doctor on your tongue, just with your finger, just write it on your tongue,
Oh,
and you will remember it in the morning.
I don't know if I believe that. I'm gonna try
Try
it
it.
out.
But it's not like, don't try to force it, but just you're thinking about something, "Oh, I gotta remember that." I kid you not, it works every single time, and I
Okay,
heard
I'll
it.
try it, but I'm a doubter.
You're a skeptic. That's fine. That's fine.
Yes,
Try it.
very much skeptical, but I'll definitely worth a try. I would say, because my phone is not that far. I don't sleep with it, like, next to my head or anything, but I sleep with it across the bed. I would say, "Hey, Siri," and remind me.
Oh, well, that's true if you have Siri, but no, I keep my phone because 'cause I've talked about it. I don't wanna be distracted at sleep because sleep was so important, so I keep my phone in another room.
Yeah, no, that's smart, and I actually should do that as well.
Yeah.
And
Anyway,
as well
that was just a
yeah, that's I've never heard that, so that's
random tip as
interesting.
we were talking about memory and remembering things.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely try it because it sounds very outlandish.
Yeah. Alright, what's our topic today?
Well, after being around 2 littles, I ran across a social media account. I will give credit. It's called Inquiry Co. And she's an early educator and has worked with young children for quite some time. And she was talking about toddler tantrums, which I thought was interesting because as a grandma, you want to discipline the way that the parents of the children are on board with. But sometimes this can come up. And I thought it was interesting because these are some things I hadn't thought of as far as the whole reasoning behind tantrums. So she says most of what you're doing during toddler tantrums accidentally adds fuel to the fire. So she has a whole system called the oxygen principle. There's a lever on a fireplace, push it in, the fire dies down. Pull it out, oxygen floods in, and the fire gets huge. Tantrums are exactly like that. Attention feeds tantrums. What we need to do is suck out the oxygen. So she was saying, and I definitely can relate to this, At the height of a tantrum, lots of talking equals more oxygen, which I totally get because you try to calm them down, you try to reason, you try to talk them out of it almost. And then she goes on to say, getting big and yelling equals more oxygen. Begging or bribing them to stop equals more oxygen.
Huh.
Even most attempts at comfort are just more oxygen, when in reality, all the stimulus needs to come down.
So just ignore it?
Well, so then she has some suggestions because actively that I just try to diffuse it, keeping a calm voice, talking, 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 which what she is saying is that actually can add fuel to the fire, even if you're calmly saying this. So she says what to do. Say things like, I totally see you're very upset. That makes sense. I'm going to be right over here while you're yelling, and then turn your body, your attention, and your words away. Stay close, ideally within sight, but go do something else. Check in with a calm, clear voice every couple minutes, but give them space to have it. A tantrum has to play itself out. Like a washing machine cycle, that door is locked from the inside. Their little brain is temporarily unavailable and it's going to have to cycle all the way through. And then it says, you'll know when it's time to re engage. A nice, big, deep breath, a little voice reaching out, a break in the clouds. Boom, you're right there, ready to recover with them. But at the height of it, you got to remove the fuel. So I thought a lot of that we do understand, but I thought that was interesting and great tips because not only by walking away, you're also teaching the young child how to regulate their own feelings and how to work through their feelings, which is so important.
Do you think you can really do that?
Yes, for sure.
I don't think I can.
You can. You definitely can.
Well, yeah, so I was thinking about this topic when you mentioned it and was thinking about just the times that mainly my grandson, because my granddaughter's still too young and he's 2.5. When he I don't know if tantrum's the right I guess tantrum would be like he's push pushing his plate away and stuff like that. I guess I would consider that tantrum. Like you're misbehaving in a way.
Right. You're not following what is expected.
Right, right. So, it's interesting. So, when I have him, and I think I've mentioned this before, when I have him one-on-one, it usually is very calm, things go well, things like that. When his parents come home or when it's all of us, it's more chaotic, and I know it's because, they want mommy, they want daddy or whatever, but I was researching it too because almost every time we have family dinner on Thursdays, almost every time my grandson will express some emotion, whether it's like he's crying because he wants attention, or he's acting out because he doesn't want his food, or something's happening. And I've researched a little bit of it, and they say that toddlers often hold it together for caregivers, then release their emotions with parents because parents are their emotional safe zone. So, and then when they have multiple adults present in their life, they compete for attention. And so, let's say like at dinner time, for example, if they have their parents there, so they're seeking attention, they have multiple adults there, so grandma, grandpa, maybe their uncle, they are trying to figure out like, okay, who am I going to interact with? So it's like an overstimulation because there's excitement. It's also at dinner, so it's later in the day, so they're tired. They compete for attention. This like shifting of boundaries can overwhelm their regulation of how they act.
100 it all makes complete sense. And they're just kinda learning the ways of how to deal with different type of stimuli.
Yeah.
It
So
it
it's basically it's confusing to them. There's too much change happening at one time or too much happening at one time, so it stresses them out a little bit.
Right, and like you said, they're used to having the attention, especially the firstborn who, prior to the second one being born, was everyone's world at every moment. So I
Yeah.
think even that's part of the adjustment, but I think it all makes sense. I What I thought was interesting about her take on it was my natural inclination is definitely to try to diffuse with words, where in reality you're just distracting and that helps them or it doesn't help them learn how to regulate themselves. So I thought that part was really interesting. And what you were saying before totally resonates with me too. I have a son with big feelings and he would be perfectly behaved at school. Teachers would, rave about him, coaches, etcetera, and he would come home and it's like that was his release. He needed to get all of that pent up whatever he was feeling out when he got home because it was his safe spot, and I definitely saw that through the years.
Yeah, my daughter sent me a video. They had a little parent day or whatever at the preschool, and they all walked in, everything was good, but then when my grandson saw his mom and dad show up for this little recital or something that they were doing, he got so excited, and he started jumping up and down and stuff like that because that's his sa like that he it just the shift changed. He was really good with his caregivers, but as soon as he saw mom and dad, it was like all of his emotions came out for them.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. And I mean, he does have a great personality, so it brought fun to the show, but it was kind of funny just how it shifted so quickly when they showed up.
I know kids that's the beauty of kids is they're all so different and in their own way, and it's just so much fun to see all the differences with kids and be able to relive it, not as parents, but as grandparents now.
Yeah. A week and a half ago, it was my husband's birthday, so we have our family dinner. It was his birthday, and I had told my grandson ahead of time, I said, "No crying on grandpa's birthday because he wants to have fun." And so we're sitting at the table. It was going great. He was being really good. And then he started having little emotions come out and he started to cry. And I said, "What did we talk about for grandpa's birthday?" And he said, "No crying." I said, "That's right." And then it was good. Like that whole night was great. So it was kind of weird. Like I set it up.
Well, you set the expectation. I was almost gonna say, isn't he too young to understand that? But clearly he's not if he repeated back to you what the expectation was.
I know. And so I'm thinking, okay, how do I get that for every dinner that we have on Thursdays? But I don't think it's realistic. So how can I better help them manage his outbursts or him throwing a plate because he's not happy or whatever? Because
I
I'll
think just like what it says, just take the plate and don't pay attention to him, because ultimately, mostly what he wants is attention.
don't even say anything to him.
Correct. Take the plate so there's not any danger of him being able to do anything, and just do not put any attention towards him until he's calm.
Well, we'll see. I'll test that.
Okay, you test that. You can be a skeptic about my beliefs too.
And I was just chat GPTing my tongue thing and it says it's an old wives' tale, but I swear it works for me.
Well, I will test it to tell you my results, but I like I said, I'm a little skeptical.
Well, old wives' tales you have come from somewhere,
No,
right?
exactly.
Anyway,
No, it's just funny, I've never heard it, but willing to try for sure.
I'm willing to try, and I'll let my daughter and son-in-law know that, "Okay, let's give this a try because we heard that it should work, and we'll see what happens." I just think they just he gets too, excited and all these emotions and the confusion and the fatigue and all that just all happen at once. So it's
Also a smart boy, though, so he'll recognize if I behave this way, nobody's gonna pay attention to me, so I'm not getting what I want.
maybe.
I think that'll work. My daughter definitely implements that. I mean, she worked in education for years too, but when I actually read all of this, it made sense to me why she did what she did too. So I didn't really question it before, but now it kind of like all adds up. So anyway, something to food for thought. I do have a fabulous find thanks to my daughter that I saw on the trip.
Oh, good. What is it?
It is it's called Row Wellness Kids SPF 50 Mineral Sunscreen Powder Reef Safe Protection. It's Totally clean. It's a little brush with the powder. Why it's amazing is because you're not rubbing sunscreen on kids, which is not fun at all. Getting it in their eyes, getting it on their hands. And even like my granddaughters are little blondies. They or even your little granddaughter, well, she has a lot of hair, but, like, they can put it right into the scalp, like, with a ponytail when hair is pulled back. You can put it on the neck easily. She uses it on herself. I used it. It works really well, but mess-free and totally clean, so you're not having to worry about any of the chemicals and so forth.
So it's a powder.
It's a powder brush.
Huh.
We can put it on the episode links and available on Amazon, but it was really cool, and like I said, I am very fair, and I tried it in Denver as well, and it worked amazing.
That would actually be good for adults too who have, like, men maybe who are a little balding or have thin hair thinning to.
Exactly. The other nice thing too is if you're traveling and don't wanna check luggage, it's not a liquid,
Good point.
so you can put it in carry-on without any issue because it's a powder.
And you could put it over makeup, I guess, if
Oh,
you.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, if you're in a long day, out in the sun, you can just do that to extra protection. I.
Yeah, the really part I loved about it was, you know how difficult it is to rub sunscreen on kids because they hate it, and
Yeah,
it was just like it's almost fun with the brush because 'cause you're dabbing, and it's like almost like they can put it on themselves and have fun and not complain and not cause a tantrum.
very cool.
So I thought that was when she showed it to me, I've heard of this, but I've never seen them totally chemically free and safe. So it's mineral based.
Yeah, because I know when we were in Hawaii, that was a big deal, the type of sunscreen, and they even have, like, safe sunscreen stations all along the beach that's reef safe sunscreen that they want you to use. So they supply
Right.
it right there on the beach to the tourists.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, this also states that it's reef safe. So I thought it was really cool. I used it myself, loved it, used it on the girls, loved it. So if that can help anyone, I think it's a good one.
That's something to look into. I'm gonna try that, actually.
Well, next time we can talk about all the benefits that grandkids get from an active grandma or an active grandpa or older people in their lives, because that's really what our podcast is all about. So I think that would be a fun discussion for our next episode.
That's right, and maybe on top of that is, again, the benefits that we get.
True, because that's also been proven by research is it's a win-win for the grandparents and the grandkids.
Yep, exactly. Okay, well, that sounds good. So that'll be our topic next week.
And hopefully we're together in person and I'm walking like a normal person again.
I sure hope so. I sure hope so. Well, take care, Sharon. Well,
All right. It's been fun. See you guys next time. Thanks for listening.
bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe to the podcast so we can continue to grow our community. Also follow us on Instagram at Working Grandmas Podcast, on Facebook at The Grand Balance, a Working Grandmas Podcast, and join our LinkedIn group, Working Grandmas. You can also email us at info@workinggrandmas.com or message us through any of our social media platforms.